Hi everybody and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist and internationally published author, helping take your life, your business, your body, your health, your wellness, and today specifically your mindset from where you are right now to being unstoppable. Today I want to talk to you about building emotional muscle. Now, a lot of the work that I do with people is building muscle, like physical muscle on your body. And today I'm going to walk you through a series of steps which is how we build our emotional muscle, how we build our mindset, and it's not really that different to how we build a physical muscle. So I want you to look at it this way. When people start working out, they say, how many reps, how many sets of weights, exercises should I do in order to build the muscle? Well, I give them an answer. When it comes to hypertrophy, which is growing the muscle, it's well received in science that we work in that range of 8 to 12, okay, 8 to 12 reps. But what is it when it comes to building your emotional muscle? How many reps, how many sets should you be doing? Well, the answer is this. In order for us to grow any part of it, so now we're talking emotionally, our mindset, in order to build that, we need to push against a force consistently to challenge the muscle so that it can grow. Just like a muscle, a physical muscle, if you don't lift a weight, if you don't push that muscle against a force, a resistance, it will not grow. It will atrophy. It will shrink away, which is the opposite of hypertrophy. So isn't this the same when it comes to your mindset? If you've never been challenged in your life, if you don't push against things that are hard, if you don't make yourself uncomfortable, then how can you expect to grow? Right now I'm standing in my studio and I'm looking at a whole range of different equipment. If I never pick it up, I'm never going to challenge myself to push that muscle harder than it is by just standing here, just holding my arms down by my side. It's never going to do anything to change me. But what I know is that if I want to grow a part of me, like yesterday I did a back and chest workout. In order for me to grow those areas of my body, I know that I need to hurt. I know that it's going to push me to that point where it's really going to burn. I'm going to go till failure. I'm going to push my body so hard until I can't lift another weight. I can't pull myself up in another pull-up. I can't push that bar off my chest because the muscles are so full with blood and lactic acid that I just can't go any further. My most painful workout of the week is my leg workout. In order for me to achieve the change I want, I know going into the workout that it's going to hurt a lot. I mean, like really, really hurt. And so a lot of people would look at that and listen to this now and say, why would you even bother? Why do you want to hurt yourself like that? Now, I'm not talking about hurting myself so that I'm injured, even though when you have that muscle soreness, you have actually done damage to the muscle. You've caused these little microfiber tears in the muscle, but it's through that repair process by fueling yourself the right way that's where you get the growth. Now, isn't this the same when it comes to your emotional growth? You want to push yourself hard. You want to feel uncomfortable. You want to push yourself into those zones where you ordinarily would not go to feel uncomfortable. And isn't it true that you can look at events in your life where you say, oh, that really left some battle scars, some wounds on you? Haven't you had those situations that have occurred in your life? I certainly have. And then if you look back at those events, if you want to, you can see that from those scars you achieve growth. And I know I certainly have. And it's only by pushing into those where you get the growth. So this is what's important to remember. If you want to grow your mindset, your emotional strength, to make you become more resilient, stronger, better, a better version of you, get the growth within you that you can have for you to give to others as well, share with others, be that better version of you, then you need to make yourself uncomfortable. From time to time, that means that you're going to have to consistently lift a weight that's going to hurt you. That means you're going to have to step into situations that are going to make you feel uncomfortable. And that means that sometimes you may get hurt. But that's where you get the growth. But you have to keep pushing. And you have to do it very, very consistently. Because you can't come into the gym one day, do one bicep curl and say, boom, done. I've got awesome guns, awesome arms. I never have to do that ever again. Well, sorry, it doesn't work that way. And what you have to do is do it consistently. So with my program right now, for instance, I lift very heavy, my major body parts once a week. Now, when I'm not doing what I'm doing now, sometimes that may be twice a week. But right now it's once a week. So I push myself really, really hard. It hurts a lot. But I know that that's what's required to give me the growth, the body that I want. I do it consistently. And that's what you need to do to get that emotional growth too in your mindset. You have to do it consistently. You have to put yourself in those positions, making decisions, challenging yourself. It's that resistance. Part of you, the bigger part of you, is probably saying, don't do this, it's going to hurt, it's going to be hard, don't do it. But if I said that every time I stepped into the gym, what am I going to do? I'm just wasting my time. I can just come in here and sit and look at the stuff and just hope that maybe if I just rub the equipment with my hands, maybe those vibes will end up in my body and I'll just look awesome. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. You've got to do the work. The next thing that people normally ask me is, what weight should I lift? Well, good question. A lot of people, and I see this in gyms a lot, when they're open, they're not open here at the moment, but I see people trying to lift too much weight, generally speaking. When it comes to females, I normally see them lifting too little weight and doing a very high number of repetitions with pretty poor form. And it's like, what are you doing? You're just wasting your time doing that. When I say wasting your time, it might be good for their mental health, knowing that they're doing something and they're moving and they feel good about that, but it's not actually getting them the change that they probably really want. So when it comes to the physical weight, what I'm doing each week in the program I'm on right now, every single week for my big lifts, I want to increase the volume. That means either an extra rep or it means increasing the weight. Even if it's increasing the weight by 1 kilo, that's what I aim to do. Just slightly increasing it, moving it forward, pushing the muscle differently, harder every single week. Now, when it comes to your mindset, this is where it becomes challenging for you to work out, where do you start? Well, let's just say that I walk into the gym for the first time. I walk into the gym and then somebody for their first time walks into the gym and we train together. Are they going to be lifting the same weight as me? And the quick and easy answer to that is no, because I'm experienced for 30 years. I'm probably going to be lifting a lot more than someone else is on their first session. Does that make me right and them wrong? No. It's about where you start. And then you progress from there. So the decisions that I might make, the positions that I'm prepared to put myself in to make life difficult for me, my tolerance for that may be way more than somebody that's just doing this for the very first time. challenging themselves for the first time. So if I'm teaching my kids how to do that, then obviously they're going to have a lesser tolerance for emotional pain than I am, because it's a life skill and they're building that muscle every day by challenging themselves at school, solving problems. And this is how we do it as well. How do you get better? You have to keep putting yourself in the scenario or different scenarios and respond to it. Make yourself uncomfortable and respond to it. What do you think the fastest way to learn a new language is? And some of you might say, well, get an online recording, and listen to that constantly, do a course, get a tutor that speaks fluently the language. Or, what I would suggest is the best one, go to the country and immerse yourself in the culture, live in it. And by virtue of the pain that you will go through to communicate with other people and not knowing the language, you will quickly pick up the language. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to become fluent within a week, but it does mean that you will find a way to communicate with the rest of the population to get what you want, and so that they know what you want. You will find a way, and you will learn the words in the process, and you just get better and better, and each day gets a little better and a little better. So this is the same with any area of your life where you want to get better. You need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. I mean, if you were dropped into a culture that you didn't understand the language, something completely different. It was like an alien. You were dropped in a bunch of aliens on a planet where there's just aliens. You would find a way to communicate. And would that be uncomfortable because it would be very unknown to you? Absolutely. It's like being dropped in the wilderness. You'll either die or you'll survive. Now, you'll choose to survive if your will to live is greater than your willingness to accept failure and death. But otherwise, you'll find a way to make it successful. Now, I know this is a movie, but have a look at Castaway, for instance, the role that Tom Hanks played. What did he have to do? He knew nothing about living on an island by himself. He didn't know how to catch fish. He didn't know how to use the coconuts or even open the coconuts and make fire. But his willingness to be able to live and maybe one day get back home was far greater than his willingness to just roll over and die. So he found a way. He learned how to do it. He learned how to make the spears. He learned how to catch fish. He learned how to make fire. He learned how to live adequately and survive, and then escape and be found. So we have to keep putting ourselves, keep lifting a different weight. We have to keep increasing the intensity that we put on ourselves. And I guess an easy example to look at here is what we do with our kids in educating them. What do? Well, we start out by giving them crayons and getting them to colour things, and then it's learning the alphabet, and then it's learning words, and then it's sentences, and then it's more reading, and we just progress further and further as we get into the subjects like English and maths and science and things like that. We start out with very simple concepts, but each week, each day, it gets harder and harder. So by the end of a year, our kids have actually accomplished quite a lot in terms of their learning. They're challenging themselves all the time. I mean, my girls know things now at school that I didn't learn at school. So in many respects, they're smarter than me in terms of some of the subject matter that they know, because every single day they're put in a classroom and they have to challenge themselves to learn more. And they don't like it all that they have to learn, because it's like they can't relate to it. But they're in that situation where they're learning more every single day. And that is doing what? It's growing their mindset. It's growing their ability to problem solve. And this is one of the biggest things that we as humans are not great at, I don't think. And that's problem solving. Well, some are and some aren't. But I think generally speaking, People aren't resilient, people aren't good problem solvers, so they end up with their life in a bit of a mess. Our job is to build that emotional muscle. The more we push into that pain, the more we lift, the more uncomfortable situations you put yourself into, the better you become. So how do you do that in terms of say a workplace scenario? Well, maybe you are always the person that is looking for some further work, looking for some further responsibility. In a business context, if you are an entrepreneur, it's about innovation. It's about looking for different opportunities. It's about not just taking every opportunity, but looking, because the more successful you get, the more opportunities you get presented to you, but it's looking for the right opportunities that are for you. And some of them are going to make you feel uncomfortable, and maybe they're the ones that you should be taking, because when you start to feel uncomfortable, that's when you're starting to grow, or you're giving yourself the opportunity to grow. So that's what you need to do in terms of lifting. The third point I would say, people ask me, what should I eat? What should I be eating in order to grow muscle? And there's a whole other discussion around what that should be. When it comes to your emotional muscle, what should you be eating? Well, I would say you should be consuming lots of material. That means you need to be looking at, how am I going to grow myself each day? What books am I going to be reading? What podcasts am I going to be reading? Now here's the thing. There's one thing to listen and read. That's one thing. I've known many people that have been great readers, great consumers of content. They go to all kinds of different seminars, but they never actually change. They don't put any of these things into practice. They don't act. So the idea is that you've got to eat this food, consume this material, absorb it, and use it. And this is how you get the growth. I look at one of the biggest reasons for me to be changing over the last few years is because of the fact that I've got great information, and I've said, okay, I'm kind of a bit sick and tired of getting great concepts and not implementing them. I need to change my life. So I need to implement all these different steps so that I can achieve what it is that I want to achieve. And the very first program that I did this with was one of Tony Robbins, actually. It was his 30-day program. And I thought, you know what, here's a guy that's super successful, helped millions of people around the world. He's telling me I should do this stuff, and even though I don't understand it or agree with it, I'm going to do it anyway, because he tells me that it works for so many people. So I can remember doing, it was a 30-day program, and I can remember doing the first, 5-6 days, and it was hard. And I said to myself, just do it. Just do the steps. And I didn't understand why I was doing some of them at the time, because it was different. It was a different way of learning for me. I'm like, how is this relevant? How is this relevant to what it is that I want to achieve? But I can't tell you exactly, but it was maybe day 7, day 8, and I thought, that's why I needed to do that. And this is life's little conundrum. We don't always know why we're doing something until we're ready to know what that is. And I continued right through the whole program, and that was probably one of the first programs that I completed fully. And it was a big commitment in terms of time. I mean, obviously, I've done a uni degree and all that. It's not like I'm not committed, but I think we find reasons if we're reading a book or doing something like that. They say that something like it's only 10% of people will finish a book once they start reading it. It's scary, especially if it's a great book, great content. So how many people then finish the book and then don't actually implement? So the percentage of people that probably get great content and then implement it is probably 1%. It's that top 1% of people that we talk about that are prepared to do what the others aren't. but they want the results. The 99% want the results, they're not prepared to do the work. So this is where you can be different. Read, do courses, listen to podcasts, but make sure that you absolutely act. You've got to put things into practice. It's only by doing that that you start to build yourself. So I did this course and I felt that, wow, I've opened up a piece of me that I never knew existed. And then from there I went on and I ended up getting other coaches, and that's helped me be really successful in moving forward with that accountability, that guidance, guiding me in the direction of content, what I should be reading, what I should be listening to, what I should be doing. So really, really important. You've got to be consistent with it. The fourth step is people ask me, how much should I sleep? And I say, well, 6 to 8 hours. Now, when it comes to your mindset and the growth of you, guess how much you should be sleeping? 6 to 8 hours. If you can get that amount of sleep, I think you're doing really well. That's giving your brain enough time to be sleeping, resting, and then you wake up refreshed. You feel like you want to continue going on your beautiful journey because you feel so energized and you feel so focused because you know what it is that you're doing each day. You're becoming a greater version of yourself. The fifth step is you've just got to continuously repeat everything that I just said. You've got to do it consistently. Life's a journey, and it's a beautiful journey. But you've got to do things consistently. The sixth step is make sure you have fun. If you are not enjoying the process, then there's something that's not right. You're not challenging yourself in the right way. And yeah, is pain fun? Well, I would say it can be. And I don't mean that in a naughty bedroom type context. I mean, the greatest thing that I love to do for myself is a workout. Now, what did I say before? I know that each workout I walk into, I'm going to cause myself a lot of pain. But I love that feeling. I love the feeling of challenge, and I love what is at the end of that. And that is growth. And what does that then look like? Well, that means it changes the shape of me. It means that I look good. It means that I'm proud of the body that I've created. It means that I'm achieving things for me. And that's really powerful. Now, the same, of course, is true of your mindset. The more that you grow, the more that you want to grow. I love what Bill Gates says when he was asked if he could have a superpower, what would it be? And he said the superpower that he would like is to be able to read faster, be able to absorb the content faster. And I think, do you know what? That's actually a really cool superpower. I find that the more that I challenge myself now, I know that I get growth in that. And the more growth that I get, I think, wow, if I can just keep growing and keep growing my mindset, my emotional fitness, that emotional muscle, then what does that mean for me? Well, it means I become a greater person for me. I have great thoughts, I have great focus, I have great productivity, I can help more people, I'm a better dad, I'm a better partner, lover, friend, all of those things. I'm just better. And who doesn't want to be better? I mean, I certainly do. So if I know the formula for doing that, then I have to just keep working at it. And because I know that it works, what do? I keep on wanting to do it. I know that I've got to get the right amount of sleep. I know I've got to make sure that I'm constantly absorbing content and learning from it, continuing to develop myself. Because as I get older, I mean, there's a dementia on both sides of my family. So what do I have to do? I have to make sure that I keep my mindset active. Because who knows, one day I might wake up and it starts to really erode. I guess the beauty of that is that I won't know that it's eroded because I've got a disease. Let's hope that I don't have that. But I need to make sure that I keep myself active. Now, there is science, while we're on that, to prove that if you keep doing your strength training and looking after yourself, then that really does help prevent Alzheimer's. But certainly keeping your mind active as well, always learning, switching on that part of you which is learning, not just going through life and doing things, but learning. Continue to learn. And that's how you start to keep on growing yourself. Really important. And so you never want to stop. You just keep going, you keep growing, you keep loving the process. And just like from a kid, when once you were just colouring in to then maybe 30, 40, 50 years later, you're building buildings, you're creating empires, you are solving some of the world's greatest dilemmas. But you didn't start there. You started in a completely different place, and you were challenging every day, learning every day, growing every day, building that emotional muscle for that one day where you had those opportunities and you took them, and then you learn from those opportunities and you continue to experience the joy of life and the joy of fulfillment and success in what it is that you're building. It's really an exciting process. I love studying success, and one of the greatest areas where you can control completely is how much you build your emotional muscle, how much you continue to grow every single day. Never stop. Life is too short. You don't know what is possible for you yet, but keep on moving. You'll get there. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.